Hi and welcome back. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is my channel where I talk about all my quilty stitchy things. And today is my weekly update number 48. It is January 14th, 2024. And winter is definitely here. It's a very cold day today. Right now it says it's 8 degrees outside, which it's a -8 with the wind chill. Now, I don't know Celsius just because I don't deal with Celsius, but I Googled it. And it says that Google, 8 degrees Fahrenheit is -13 Celsius, and -8 degrees Fahrenheit is -22 degrees Celsius. And it's only going to get colder. Now, as far as snow goes, well, we've got some snow off and on, but not really enough to stick around. And what we do just kind of melts as soon as we get it. Until today, because today is very cold, but there's not any snow right now. So let me know in the comments down below what weather's like where you're at. Just curious. Okay, so my weekly update. Well, it's where I talk about everything I've worked on, completed, and done throughout the week. So I managed to quilt 2 quilt tops this week and finish another quilt top. So last week I said that I'd had the goal to to quilt 50 quilts by the end of the year. So now I'm up to 47 more to go before my goal. So let's take a look at what I quilted. And this is one of the quilts I quilted on the long arm this week. Now this is probably one of my older quilt tops, but it is just a jelly roll race. And I brought it out, put it on the long arm. Now what I quilted on it was this Whimsy, I think it's Whimsy or Whipsy pantograph. I get the names confused, but it's one of them. And it's kind of like my go-to for when I don't know what else to quilt. So that's what I put on it. We'll go take a closer look at the quilting. And there is just a closer look at that. Looking over there on the borders. Going up at the top. Gonna go back here a little bit. That's about as far as I can zoom out. There we go, and we'll take a look at the backing. Now the backing, I had found a batik that I thought matched those colors well, so that was the backing that I had put on there. And this is the other quilt that I quilted this week on the long arm. Now this is not my quilt, it was my mom's quilt. I just did the quilting for her. And I quilted it with a Americana type pantograph that says Stars and Stripes Forever. So we'll go in, take a look at it. So there's a look at the top. We're just gonna work our way down to the bottom there. Okay, let's go in and see if we can find the words. You can start to see the stars. Where's the stars? Right there. And then the stripes right over there. And then the forever is down there. Oops. So that's what's quilted all over it. We'll take a look at the backing she used. And that was the backing she put on it. And the binding is already done on that. And that's just because my mom doesn't do a traditional binding. She cuts her backing bigger and then folds it over into the front and stitches it down. So that's already done. I don't do that. I do more of a traditional binding, and I cut my strips at 2.5 and I attach it to the front, flip it to the back, and then sew it down. But it's okay, whatever works for you. Now, what else did I do? Well, my gnomes. I have all of my gnome blocks done. I just had the 2 accent blocks to do. And there is the accent 1 block, which is all done. And the accent 2 block, which is all done. And then I managed to put it all in a quilt top. So let's hang it up, take a look at it. So there it is, the December Cotton Cuts Gnomes all put together into the quilt top. So now I'm left just to quilt it and then bind it and then do a trunk show of all 12 months. So we have the girl gnome, the accent 2 block, and then up there's the boy gnome and the accent 1 block. So that means I've quilted 3 quilts and I've completed 3 quilt tops so far this year, and only January 14th. So what else did I do as far as piecing? Well, let's take a look. I worked on the pressed flowers sew along. That's from the Sew Sampler, the block of the month. So I finished blocks 8 and 9, I believe, is what I worked on. Let me pull them out here. Yes, I did the Forget-Me-Not block and the Marigold block. So there's the Forget-Me-Not block, which is 8, and block 9, which is the Marigold. Now, because I had bought the kit when it came out, I already know what the finishing looks like, so I've been working on that as well. So, I'm going to show you what it looks like. However, if you get the Sew Sampler and you don't want to know what it looks like, look away for about 30 seconds or so. I'll let you know when I'm done. So, these are the first 6 blocks all put together. And this is what it's looking like. Okay. And then I started with the 7th. Well, I just can't add that because I need to finish the row first. Okay, you can look back now. So I worked on that. And then the next thing I worked on was this legendary quilt pattern by Elizabeth Hartman. And I finished the little Bigfoot block right there. And there it is, my Bigfoot block. Now, I know somebody had commented in one of my previous videos that it was going to look like Bigfoot had tattoos. I guess he does. He has tattoos of himself all over him. So that's my Bigfoot block. And then on Wednesday, I went and hung out with some other creators and people over with Stephen Bland from The Idiot Quilter and Stephanie Stitches from her YouTube channel, Stephanie Stitches. They host a little sew with me on Zoom every Wednesday, and I went and hung out with them for a couple hours this Wednesday. And I managed to cut out all the rest of the pieces for that quilt. So it is all cut out, ready to sew. So all of those trees are going to be scrappy. On this pattern, I know they kind of used the same fabric for all those trees. I didn't. I used multiple greens, so it's going to kind of look more of a little scrappy look. And then my tree stems are different fabric from Bigfoot too. So I worked on that. And then, one other thing to show you. So yesterday, I had pulled out this kit, which is Meek the Makers from Riley Blake. I've had this for a few years. I pulled this out and I'll start cutting it, but I ended up spending the day with my husband, and that's okay. And then we watched a movie, and so I didn't get much work done yesterday. But I did pull it out today. And well, there was a little couple setbacks, but it's okay. I can work on it. Number one, you can see all of these are solids. And so there's a couple different greens, a couple different pinks. They're not really labeled in the kit. So it took me a little bit to try and figure out and narrow it down by the size of the cut, which pink was which name. So I got all that figured out. And then I went to the white, because the white is the largest cut. Well, normally when fabric is cut, you know, you're 40 to 44 inches wide, it's folded over. Well, they didn't do that. They left it the whole 44 inches and then just folded it over like that. So I had to take the whole 5 yards, put it together and kind of press it just to be able to have it to a manageable cutting size. I didn't like that, but that's okay. Made it work. And then when I got to the end of that 5 yards, there's a big smudge going through the end. But it's been a couple years since I bought it, so I don't think there's really anything can do about it, so I'll just make it work. Hopefully, if I cut out that black smudge, it'll be fine. I'll still have enough yardage. We'll see. But I did get all that. So I didn't actually get any cutting done yet, but I plan on doing the cutting later today. So here's the white that I've actually managed to roll onto the comic boards. But like I said, we're now down to this size instead of the whole 44 inch wide. And I've got all the different colors labeled with what they're actually called. So I do think Riley Blake could have done a little bit better job somehow of identifying what each color is. I mean, because look, there's 2 different greens right here. Which one's grass and which one was green smoothie? Took a little bit to figure that all out. But I did. So, we're just ready to go, ready to cut that. Hopefully I can do that today. Okay, so that's everything I've worked on as far as sewing and quilting this week. Let's move on to my cross stitch. Before we do that, now this fabric right here, this is just the fabric I need to cut out for the alternating blocks, what they're calling the alternating blocks. There's a bunch more fabric in here. See, there's a bunch more fabric all in there. Like I said, it took a little bit of time to figure out what the names of what name went with what color, but we got it figured out. Now let's go to cross stitch. So I have been working on this cross stitch pattern. Now there's 13 different patterns all combined into one, which is what I'm doing for this huge piece. Now, last week I was working on this one. Don't count the days, make the days count. So I finished that, and now I'm working on this one. Direct the wind. Oh, you can't direct the wind, but you can adjust the sails. So that's where I'm at. And this is a huge piece of fabric because I'm doing this on 14 count. And here we are. We are getting there. So yep, so that's the block I finished. Don't count the days, but make the days count. And then I started working over here in this, which is you can't direct the wind, but you can adjust the sails. So I'm going to finish this block, and then I'll do this block, and then I will just have the last row to do. So this is where we are right now. Now, I've had people ask me if I use, or what kind of light I use when I cross stitch. I don't use any extra light. And actually, I kind of cross stitch in kind of a dim lit room, especially at night, because that's when I do a lot of my work is at night. So after the sun's down, I'm kind of in this room that doesn't have the best lighting. How I do that, I don't know. I guess it's just years of experience, and I'm just more familiar with where the holes are, and I can do it. So yes, I don't use any light pads. I don't use any magnifiers. I don't use any other lights. But it also is 14 count. I'm not working on 42, 56 counts that some people do in these linens. So that's just me. Okay, now crochet. So I've been working on this cardigan the Gracie slouchy cardigan. So I finished the back panel. There's where we start the arms. There's the back panel. And yes, I do got some stitch markers in there for where my armholes and stuff were supposed to be. And I've started working on the right front panel. This is as far as I got there. And I'm using this chenille yarn from Lion Brand, Let's Get Cozy, Chenille Appeal. And it is the color Rose Dawn. That's what I'm doing. And this pattern is from Crochet magazine, the Autumn 2022 edition. Okay, so that's everything I worked on this week. So what do I hope to get done this following week? Well, I want to get my gnome quilt quilted on the long arm, and hopefully I can get that Meet the Maker quilt started, at least that first alternating block, which I think there's like 25 blocks of the alternating block, but they're all the different colors are in it. So I hope I can get that cut out. And what else? Who knows? We'll see. All right, till next time. Bye.